Welcome on board, chosen one. Let's not dance around it. You didn't just go through a rough patch. You survived a setup so foul it could make a seasoned villain cringe. And the best part, the people who tried to do you dirty still think nobody knows. They're out here walking around with fake innocence glued to their face, hoping you never find out how low they were willing to crawl just to see you break cute, honestly. A little pathetic, but cute. Your story didn't get twisted because you were naive. It got twisted because someone thought they were smarter than the universe itself. They plotted, they schemed, they whispered in corners while padding their ego with fantasies of your downfall. They actually believed you were an easy target. They counted on your heart being too soft, your loyalty being too blind, your silence being too harmless. What they didn't count on was the timing, the universe stepping in before their mess ever turned into damage. Press the like button and subscribe. It pays this message back and strengthens this mission. Anyway, let's keep peeling the mask off. You ever notice how things suddenly got quiet around you? That weird silence after the storm. That shift in the air when something foul finally gets exposed without needing a single word. Yeah, that wasn't your imagination. That was the universe closing a door so loudly on their faces that even they felt the wind. They thought they were being slick, but the universe was watching them like a bored security guard watching amateurs try to shoplift toothpaste. The shift you felt wasn't paranoia. It was protection. It was the invisible force pulling you out of a room right before someone locked the door behind you. People don't realize how often chosen ones get rescued long before they even smell the smoke. And what was planned for you wasn't some basic betrayal or petty jealousy. It was a psychological ambush crafted to corrode your sanity from the inside out. The kind of plot where they smile at you in public while aiming at the version of you nobody sees. Here's the unfiltered truth. Neuroscience has proven that betrayal lights up the same pain centers in the brain as literal physical injury, meaning their little plan wasn't harmless. They knew exactly what they were doing. They were trying to break your trust, your self-image, your ability to feel safe in your own skin. They weren't just throwing drama your way, they were designing a collapse. But then the universe stepped in, not with fireworks, not with warnings, just that subtle nudge that made you pause before making a move, that sudden discomfort when you tried to ignore your intuition, that last-minute change in plans that made zero sense at the time, but now feels like the smartest thing you ever did. That was your shield, that was your exit. And the universe didn't reveal the plot after it happened. It let you sense it before the first domino even tipped. Because this one wasn't meant to bruise your heart. It was meant to bury your spirit. And here's the part your enemies will never admit out loud. They genuinely thought you were too blind to notice, too loyal to question, too trusting to step back. They rehearsed conversations. They practiced fake concern. They made up stories in their head about how you'd react when everything finally hit you. They built their entire strategy on who you were before you grew. Meanwhile, the universe was watching their blueprint like creative but unnecessary. Let's cancel this before it embarrasses everyone involved. There's a funny pattern with chosen ones. The nastiest attacks always look like coincidences from the outside. You don't see the danger. You feel the vibration shift. You sense the energy turn sour. Your spirit knows before your mind catches up. And the moment they think they cornered you, you suddenly disappear from their reach. They call it luck. The universe calls it protection. You call it that weird feeling you couldn't explain at the time. You ever wonder why certain friendships fell apart overnight? Why certain people suddenly stopped texting back. Why you felt heavy in places you used to feel happy. Why you couldn't sleep around certain people, even though nothing seemed wrong. That was the universe blocking a plot that would have drained you dry. Years ago, someone like you got pulled out of a similar mess. They ignored the signs, trusted the wrong person, and paid the price emotionally for years. But you're the upgraded version. You got out early. You got out before the poison entered your system. You got out before your identity got cracked open and used against you. Look at yourself now, standing in the quiet aftermath of a battle you didn't even realize was happening because the universe fought half of it for you. Your enemies look confused because they don't understand why their plan never took off. They try to rewrite the story, pretending nothing happened, pretending they weren't plotting in secret, but the universe exposed them by removing you. Nothing slaps harder than absence. So settle in, chosen one. This isn't just a message, it's a reveal, a slow, surgical unveiling of everything that was meant to destroy you but failed before it even started. And we're not done, not even close. And listen, chosen one, thank you. Yes, you. You made it this far, chosen one, so don't even pretend you're not feeling that magnetic pull in your chest. That's what happens after the universe drags you out of a disgusting trap and hands you the truth on a silver plate. This is the moment where the real decoding begins. So if you're ready to walk into the next layer of what was planned against you, if you're ready to see the blueprint they thought you'd never uncover, drop a 777 in the comments. Not as some cliché symbol, but as your way of saying, I'm awake now, I see everything. That tiny gesture keeps you grounded in this mission and keeps this message circulating to every chosen one who almost fell for the same wicked plot. And now we move forward step by step. If your spirit is really built for this, you'll feel that subtle pull, urging you to keep watching, to stay locked in until the final word. This is where the mask fully comes off, where the shadows start talking, where the truth stops whispering and starts roaring. So breathe, stay sharp, and lean in. Let's get into it. Number 1. They tried to break you quietly, but the universe snatched their weapon mid-swing. Funny how the ones who swear they love you suddenly turn into surgeons, sharpening knives behind your back, then freeze when the universe flips on the lights. Some people weren't planning a simple betrayal against you. They weren't plotting drama. They weren't aiming for inconvenience. They were preparing a wound so precise, so calculated, so fatal to your sense of self that you wouldn't have recognized yourself afterward. And the sickest part, they thought you'd never see it coming. They thought they'd slide right through your defenses because you're trusting, you're loyal, you're warm. They mistook your heart for a handicap and your kindness for blindness. That's the level of stupidity we're dealing with. They didn't want to just hurt you. They wanted to shatter the part of you that carries your confidence, your identity, your inner stability. They were aiming at the version of you that holds everything together, the part of you that keeps you sane when everything around you is falling apart. They weren't trying to steal your joy. They were trying to rewrite who you are. They wanted you doubting yourself, questioning every decision, breaking quietly behind closed doors while they walked around acting innocent. But here's where the universe got disrespectful in the best way possible. Before the blade even got close, before the first phase of their plan started unfolding, before they could test the first crack in your armor, the universe exposed their intent, not their words, not their excuses, their intent. It gave you that strange shift in your chest, that uncomfortable silence that didn't match the conversations, that sudden moment of clarity where everything inside you whispered, something's off. And you didn't know why, but you backed up. You pulled away. You stopped giving them access to the parts of you they were preparing to break. You weren't handed the whole story, but you were handed just enough to save yourself. That's how protection really works. It doesn't give you fireworks or warnings with neon lights. It gives you tension, discomfort, intuition, and sudden distance. It moves you away from the danger quietly, like pulling a child back from a burning stove before the child even knows what pain is. And the beauty of that protection is that it doesn't ask for permission. It simply removes you before the damage becomes irreversible. You ever wonder why their vibe suddenly felt wrong? Why your body reacted before your mind understood? Why someone you trusted suddenly felt like a stranger? Why conversations felt hollow, or why their presence started draining the life out of you? That wasn't paranoia. That was the universe tracing the edges of the trap they built, showing you the outline without revealing the entire map. Let's be brutally honest. Their plan depended on your softness. They thought your loyalty would blind you long enough for them to get close. They thought your empathy would keep you from questioning them. They thought your good heart would stop you from walking away. So they used your strengths as their strategy. They wanted to weaponize the very qualities that make you powerful. They thought they were so clever for targeting you through your virtues. But here's the cosmic punchline. The universe doesn't let people like you bleed for the entertainment of the wicked. Your withdrawal wasn't random. Your hesitation wasn't accidental. That one conversation that felt off, that wasn't coincidence. That moment when you saw their facial expression glitch, or heard their tone slip, or sensed something dark beneath their smile, that was the mask cracking. The universe made sure of it. They tried to play subtle, but subtlety collapses when someone is operating from malice. Their script wasn't meant to survive the spotlight. And honestly, they should have known better. You can't plot on someone whose intuition hits harder than your intentions. They rehearsed their lines. They practiced their fake concern. They shaped their tone to appear supportive. But they couldn't control the micro moments. The universe made sure one tiny detail slipped, one wrong sentence, one weird energy shift, one inconsistent behavior, one moment where their facade couldn't keep up with the lie. That's all it took. Once you saw the misalignment, the entire structure they built started collapsing. Their weapon wasn't forged strong enough to withstand your clarity. They planned a wound so deep it would have taken years for you to crawl out of it. But the universe exposed their blueprint before the wound was ever made, before the blade even touched your skin. The truth already touched your awareness. That's why you're standing here today without the scars they intended to give you. They designed an injury that never became reality. They fantasized about a downfall that never arrived. They celebrated too early. They underestimated the forces protecting you. They underestimated your inner intelligence. They underestimated the universe's timing. Think about that for a second. How many moments in your past felt like random distance but were actually protection? How many times did you feel disconnected from someone you loved and later found out their intentions were never pure? How many times did your own discomfort save you from a disaster you couldn't see yet? This wasn't the first time, and it won't be the last. You are the kind of person whose downfall would have fed their ego. Your collapse would have made them feel powerful. That alone tells you their hearts were rotten long before they targeted you. But the universe refused to let them succeed. It intercepted the strike before the blade was lifted, before the wound could form, before your spirit could take the hit. Here's the part that hits the hardest. They're embarrassed now, because they didn't just fail, they failed before the fight even started. They aimed for your identity and ended up exposing their own. They tried to break the chosen one and got caught in the act before the trap even snapped shut. And now, you walk with a strength they will never understand, because they will never know the full story of the disaster you escaped. Their plan required your blindness. The universe gave you vision. Their plot needed your trust. The universe gave you suspicion. Their scheme needed your silence. The universe gave you distance. They planned a wound. The universe exposed the attacker. And that is why you stand here untouched, unbroken, and evolving into someone far more dangerous than they ever expected. A chosen one who learned exactly how evil people can be, yet refused to collapse. Their wicked plot never reached your skin, but the lesson reached your soul. Number 2. Your instincts started screaming because their mask was leaking poison. The funniest thing about snakes is they never expect you to hear the hiss before you see the fangs. Energy doesn't lie, people do. A traitor's heartbeat always stutters when the chosen one walks in. When your spirit flinches, trust it. Something ugly is standing too close. Imagine waking up one morning and nothing looks different. But something feels wrong. The room is the same. The people are the same. The conversations sound normal. But your chest refuses to relax. That's the moment the chosen ones always underestimate. That's the moment your enemies hate the most. Because your spirit picks up vibrations long before their plot picks up momentum. Their plan needed your trust. Instead, they got your tension. The universe didn't wait for you to find evidence. Evidence is slow. Evidence is human. Evidence is what the blind rely on. The universe gave you something sharper. Sensation, that sudden heaviness, that weird discomfort, that feeling like you needed to step back for no logical reason. That wasn't anxiety. That was your internal alarm clock, loud enough to wake you up from a danger you weren't supposed to detect. Imagine this. You're sitting across from someone you've trusted for years, and for the first time, their smile doesn't fit their eyes. Nothing dramatic, nothing obvious, just a tiny glitch in their energy, like a glitch in the Matrix. Your mind tries to brush it off, but your spirit refuses to let it slide. That tiny glitch. That's the universe tugging your sleeve like, "Hey, look again. They're not who they pretend to be." The people plotting against you were strategic. They were clever enough to hide their actions, sure, but they weren't clever enough to hide their intention. Malice leaks. It doesn't matter how well someone plays innocent. The moment they target a chosen one, the energy around them starts bending out of shape. And you felt that bend before you ever understood what it meant. Imagine walking toward a room that looks normal, but suddenly you feel like you shouldn't walk in. No sounds, no threats, no red flags, just a pressure in your chest. You weren't supposed to sense that. You weren't supposed to pick up the shift. Their plan required your blindness, but the universe opened your eyes where it mattered most, in the part of you they couldn't manipulate. The truth is, chosen ones always sense danger before it arrives. The mind argues, the spirit doesn't, and your spirit started rejecting what your mind was still trying to welcome. Why did their tone suddenly bother you? Why did their message feel different? Why did their presence drain your energy out of nowhere? Why did you feel uneasy around someone you once felt safe with? Why did you trust the discomfort more than their explanation? because your inner system was detecting the vibrations of their intention. They needed you emotionally open. They needed your guard down. They needed you attached, trusting and unaware. Their trap required access to your vulnerability, access to your routine, access to your personal peace. But you suddenly stopped giving them that access, didn't you? You didn't even know why, but you did. Something inside you tightened. You became quiet, less available, less open, less accessible, and that was the first crack in their plan. Imagine walking into a hallway where someone planted a trap for you, strings, nets, pressure plates, but the universe turned on a draft that made one string move. You didn't see the trap, but you felt something shift. And that feeling made you step back right before walking into destruction. That's exactly how it played out in your life. They spent energy designing a downfall for you, and the universe exposed it through a feeling. One single feeling that ruined every step of their strategy. Your inner senses started picking up the truth their behavior tried to hide. Their words stayed sweet, but their intentions smelled rotten. Their compliments sounded right, but their energy felt wrong. They behaved the same, but they didn't feel the same. And chosen ones always trust the feeling over the performance. Imagine this: you're talking to someone and suddenly your stomach drops for no reason. Most people ignore that. You didn't. You paid attention, and because you did, the timeline shifted. The disaster got cancelled. The attacker lost their opportunity. You sidestepped a bullet you never even saw. People think you walked away because you were confused, but the truth is deeper. You walked away because you recognized a pattern without realizing you recognized it. Your spirit has seen those vibrations before. It has felt this kind of danger in past experiences, even ones you don't consciously remember. And when the energy around these people matched old frequencies of betrayal, your spirit yanked you away. That warning wasn't weakness. That warning was precision. Here's the part your enemies would never believe. Your discomfort was the universe whispering, "Move." Your uneasiness was the universe saying, "Step back." Your silence was the universe protecting you. Your sudden distance was the universe locking the door behind you. And the moment you shifted, even slightly, their entire plan fell apart. They were counting on you being predictable, emotionally open, easy to influence, but chosen ones don't stay blind for long. The universe sharpens your senses while your enemies are still bragging in private about how well they're playing you. Their reaction proved it. They got irritated when you became less available. They got confused when you started pulling away. They got nervous when you didn't open up the way you used to. They felt the shift before they even understood it. Because their plan required full access and your spirit slammed the gate shut. Imagine someone reaching for your heart with a poisoned needle, but suddenly their hand stops mid-air because you took one step back. That's how close they were. That's how close the danger came. And that one step, that one instinctive pull, saved your entire identity from getting contaminated. You didn't see their plot with your eyes. You saw it with your intuition. Your spirit caught the vibration of their intention, and once that happened, their entire plan started crumbling like rotten wood. They lost control. They lost momentum. They lost the version of you they wanted to exploit. They tried to push the plot forward, but nothing lined up the way they imagined, because you weren't standing where they needed you to stand. Chosen ones don't need proof to protect themselves. You need recognition. You need energy. You need sensation. Your intuition is a tracking device. It picks up lies before the liar even forms the sentence. It reads danger like braille in the dark. And this time, it saved you from a collapse that was designed to be slow, quiet, and emotionally fatal. That unease, that heaviness, that shift in your chest. It was the universe throwing its body in front of you. You felt danger you weren't supposed to see. You sensed betrayal before it touched your life. You walked away from something that would have poisoned you slowly. And that is why you're still standing, untouched, unbroken, and wiser than ever. The chosen ones aren't protected by luck. You're protected by awareness, and awareness will always expose the wicked before they ever get the chance to touch you. Number 3, they wanted you drained, but the universe refilled you like it was mocking them. The enemy's favorite weapon is your exhaustion. Too bad, the universe topped you up like a gas tank they couldn't afford. They didn't want a dramatic collapse from you, no big explosion, no obvious meltdown. They wanted the quiet kind of downfall, the kind that happens slowly, silently, drip by drip, until you're too tired to notice who's hurting you. Their whole strategy depended on you being mentally foggy, emotionally worn out, spiritually dehydrated. A tired, chosen one is easier to manipulate, easier to confuse, easier to trap. And that was the entire point. Imagine someone waiting behind the door, not with a weapon, but with timing. They needed you exhausted, so you'd stop questioning the things you normally catch instantly. They needed you overwhelmed, so their red flags would pass as misunderstandings. They needed you distracted, so you wouldn't see the trapdoor they were building under your feet. Their plot wasn't built to overpower you, it was built to outweary you. But here's where everything went sideways for them. Right when you were supposed to break, you didn't. Right when your mind should have been shutting down, it sharpened. Right when your emotions should have been collapsing, they steadied. It made no sense on paper. You had every reason to be done, every reason to stop caring, every reason to lay down and let the world walk over you. Yet somehow you got up with more energy than you had before. Strength showing up when logic says you should be weak isn't luck, it's intervention. The universe stepped in and destroyed their math. They studied your tired version, not your reborn one. They calculated your weaknesses, but never accounted for the moment your spirit caught its second wind. They didn't expect your clarity to return, right when confusion was their last reliable weapon. They didn't expect your emotions to stabilize, right when instability was supposed to give them leverage. Imagine this. They're standing on the sidelines, waiting for you to stumble. But instead, you stand up straighter. They're waiting for you to snap. But instead, you start thinking clearer. They're waiting for your breakdown. But instead, you start distancing yourself with laser precision. Nothing confused them more than the day you woke up with strength that didn't match your situation. They were irritated by your calm, threatened by your clarity, shaken by your stability, because your restoration ruined their entire plot. Their plan required you tired, not focused, overwhelmed, not observant, weak, not recovering. A chosen one with energy is a nightmare to the wicked. What they didn't know is that exhaustion doesn't break you. It activates you. It brings out the version of you that doesn't fold, doesn't hesitate, and doesn't entertain nonsense. And once that version showed up, their whole timeline burned down. You weren't restored for comfort. You were restored for clarity. You were restored so you could see them. You were restored so you wouldn't fall for them. They needed you exhausted. The universe made you unstoppable, and that's why their plot never even made it out of the planning stage. Number 4. They tried to poison your name, but the universe made them drink their own juice. A liar's whisper is loud, right up until the truth walks in and shuts the whole room up. People who plot in shadows always forget the universe has night vision. When they tried to bury your reputation, they didn't know you were the seed. The louder the smear campaign, the harder the universe snaps it back on their necks. They never came at you alone. That's the part that stings the most. You weren't fighting one insecure person. You were dealing with a flock of cowards hiding behind each other's shadows. They didn't want a dramatic character assassination. They wanted the slow, quiet kind, the kind that makes people doubt you without ever confronting you. Their plan was simple. Water down your credibility, drop by drop, until everyone viewed you through a fog. They tried to create distance. They tried to isolate you. They tried to turn people's hearts away from you through subtle comments, twisted stories, concerned tones, half-truths, and the oldest trick in the book, acting like victims while painting you the villain. Imagine this, a room full of people whispering about you, thinking they've got the perfect narrative, thinking they've cornered you socially. Meanwhile, the universe is standing right behind them, arms crossed, waiting for them to finish embarrassing themselves. Because the universe didn't let their smear campaign breathe. The people they used as messengers accidentally became witnesses. The ones who believed the rumor started noticing the math wasn't mathing. Your actions didn't match the storyline. Your energy didn't match the accusation. You were too consistent, too authentic, too grounded for their lies to stick. And slowly, people started asking themselves, hold on, why doesn't any of this add up? Their gossip carried farther than they expected, but instead of carrying damage, it carried exposure. The insecure ones who joined the hate train out of jealousy started feeling sick with guilt every time they saw you be genuine. The ones who pushed the narrative started slipping, one lie contradicting the last, one attitude cracking around the edges. The universe made sure their strategy collapsed under its own stupidity. You didn't have to prove anything. You didn't have to defend yourself. You didn't have to chase anyone. Every lie crumbled under its own weight. Every plotter tripped on their own script. Every whisperer exposed themselves when people realized their stories depended on your silence, and you weren't even participating. Imagine watching your enemies trying to ruin your image while accidentally broadcasting their insecurity and jealousy in high definition. That's exactly what happened. They didn't destroy your reputation. They revealed their character. The universe flipped the table in the most humiliating way possible. Their whisper network became your PR team. Their rumors forced people to study you more carefully. Their lies made people curious, and curiosity led them straight to the truth. And the truth, it made them look ridiculous. The same people who doubted you are now the ones saying, you weren't the problem. The same mouths that whispered against you now stay quiet when your name comes up. The same faces that avoided you now watch you with respect they never wanted to give. They tried to bury your credibility in dirt. The universe turned that dirt into your spotlight. They wanted you isolated. The universe made you undeniable. They wanted people to fear you. The universe made people see you. And now, you're not just vindicated, you're untouchable. Number 5. They built the perfect trap, and the universe made sure they were the first ones to step in. The wicked always forget one thing. The floor they're polishing for your downfall is the same one they'll slip on. A snake digging a pit for a lion is just volunteering for gravity. When the universe wants to embarrass someone, it lets them finish their masterpiece of stupidity first. Every plotter eventually becomes a victim of their own blueprint. Let's hit this hard. You ever wonder why the universe didn't stop certain people earlier? Why it didn't block the whispers, the lies, the plotting, the secret conversations behind your back? Why it didn't shut down the trap before it was fully built? Simple. Unfinished traps don't expose anybody. Half-baked schemes don't reveal who the snake is. The universe needed them to finish their little construction project, brag about it, decorate it, admire it, and finally step right into the hole they dug for you. Imagine this. They're pacing around like masterminds, bragging about how easily they'll manipulate you, telling others how predictable you are, how naive you are. They confused your kindness for weakness, your silence for stupidity, your forgiveness for gullibility. They thought they were writing your ending, but the whole time the universe was quietly flipping the script behind their back. They rehearsed their betrayal like it was a performance. They planned every detail. They pictured the moment you'd break. They even told people how smoothly their plot would unfold. And then, boom, they became the main character in their own downfall. The same mouths that mocked you are now stumbling through excuses. The same people who laughed at your heart are now scrambling to explain why everything in their life suddenly turned on them. Their peace cracked. Their reputation sank. The influence they bragged about evaporated. And the funniest part, they still don't understand how it all backfired so perfectly. Here's the truth they never saw coming. The universe didn't just block their attack, it reversed it. The pit they dug became their punishment. The trap they built became their cage. The blueprint they worshipped became their downfall. You were instructed to stay calm, not because you were powerless, but because your silence was the rope tightening around their own scheme. You didn't need revenge. You didn't need to expose them. The universe was already handling it like a bored villain watching amateurs try to play criminal. And now, everyone sees it. That's the poetic part. The universe didn't just save you. It made the justice visible. It made the fall public. It made the consequences loud enough that nobody can pretend it was coincidence. They touched what was protected, and now they know exactly why they should have left you alone. Their trap was never your danger. It was their destiny. Number 6. They tried to scramble your mind, but the universe snapped everything into focus. Gaslighters panic the moment you stop doubting yourself. Confusion is a weapon until the universe hands you clarity sharper than any lie. The fog they created became the spotlight that exposed them. Once the chosen one sees the pattern, the game is over. They didn't need to attack your life to break you. They just needed to attack your mind. Confusion was supposed to be their masterpiece. They wanted you questioning your own memories, doubting your instincts, rewriting your perceptions to match the narrative they were feeding you. This wasn't random chaos. This was mental warfare. They were banking on your kind heart, second-guessing itself. They twisted conversations so you'd question what you heard. They flipped situations so you'd question what you saw. They denied things you remember clearly just to make you feel dramatic, emotional, or too sensitive. They wanted you so mentally foggy that you'd hand them the steering wheel without realizing it. But then the universe did something that ruined everything for them. It gave you clarity in the middle of the storm they designed to blind you. Imagine this: you're surrounded by emotional noise, contradictions, mixed signals, and suddenly your mind goes silent. Not confused, silent, dangerous, silent. The kind of silent where everything lines up, patterns start connecting, Their inconsistencies start glowing, their manipulations start repeating, your intuition stops whispering and starts yelling. That wasn't coincidence, that was intervention. Confusion is where manipulation grows, and the universe refused to let you be harvested. Instead of drowning in the fog they created, you started remembering the details they hoped you'd overlook. You started seeing the cycles they swore didn't exist. You started noticing how every miscommunication looked the same, felt the same, and ended the same. You ever wonder why your clarity returned so suddenly? Why you snapped back mentally when you should have been the most vulnerable? Why you suddenly saw the truth in HD after weeks or months of emotional static? Because the universe cut the power to their illusion. You didn't become paranoid, you became perceptive. You didn't overthink, you finally started thinking clearly. You didn't change, you woke up. And once you woke up, their manipulation stopped working, not because they improved, but because you stopped defending their excuses. That was the moment the entire power dynamic flipped. They weren't mysterious anymore, just predictable. They weren't complex, just dishonest. They weren't deep, just calculated. And the moment you saw them clearly, something inside you shifted forever. You got your mind back. You got your intuition back. You got your perception back. They can't gaslight someone who already recognizes the script. They can't confuse someone who's already memorized their tactics. They can't distort reality for someone who now sees the truth without flinching. You didn't just escape their confusion. You graduated from it. And now, nobody can ever drag you into that fog again. Number 7. They wanted to rot your spirit, but the universe made you too clean to contaminate. A corrupted heart is easy to control, which is exactly why yours terrified them. Not every battle is fought with fists. Sometimes the victory is simply refusing to become the villain they needed you to be. They threw poison, and you grew flowers. That's what made them furious. Purity isn't softness, it's armor most people will never qualify for. Let's rip into this. They didn't just want to hurt you physically, mentally, or emotionally. They wanted to alter you, bend you, twist you, turn you into a version of yourself that they could point at and say, "See, I told you they weren't who you think." They couldn't touch your destiny, so they aimed for your character, the place where most people cave. They wanted you bitter. They wanted you angry. They wanted your heart so bruised that you'd finally start behaving like them, because if they couldn't win, at least they could drag you down into the mud with them. That was the real strategy, corruption over destruction. But the universe didn't let that happen because you're built from different material. While they were throwing emotional toxins at you, your spirit kept choosing peace. While they tried to trigger rage, you answered with clarity. While they waited for you to snap, you simply stepped back. And nothing enraged them more than seeing you refuse to mirror their darkness. Imagine them testing you like a lab experiment. Let's betray them, maybe that will turn them cold. Let's lie to them, maybe they'll finally explode. Let's gossip about them, maybe they'll drop to our level. But every test failed because your heart is wired with a purity they can't manufacture or fake. They thought you were protecting them by staying silent, but you were protecting yourself. You chose to stay human in a room full of shapeshifters. You chose to stay soft in a world that worships hardness. You chose integrity in a situation designed to pull you into corruption. And that choice, that refusal, is why the attack collapsed. Revenge wouldn't have healed you. Exposing them wouldn't have restored you. Dragging them through the mud wouldn't have given you peace. You understood something they've never grasped. When you hurt someone with the same darkness they used on you, you lose the war even if you win the moment. So you held your ground. You kept your hands clean. You kept your heart open. You walked away whole. Meanwhile, they walked away with guilt gnawing at them, still performing, still pretending, still trying to maintain an image they know is built on borrowed confidence and stolen attention. They kept their followers, sure, but they lost their peace. They stayed loud, but they lost their stability. And you? You stayed pure, and that purity became the shield they could never penetrate. Their attack didn't fail because they were weak. It failed because you refused to become like them, and that's the victory they will never recover from. Number 8. You didn't lose people. The universe just cut off the actors playing friends. Losing access to a pretender is never a loss. It's an upgrade in your security system. Some people weren't walking away. They were being escorted out. A fake friend is just a spy with better manners. Rejection stings, but betrayal up close would have killed you. Let's shred the illusion. You didn't lose people. You didn't get abandoned. You didn't get overlooked. The universe simply pulled the plug on connections that were quietly draining your life force. Some of the people you cried over weren't loyal. They were placeholders wearing loyalty like a costume. They weren't supporters. They were informants. They weren't friends. They were exits waiting to happen. The universe didn't let them disappear because it wanted you lonely. It let them disappear because they were leaking your energy, your information, your vulnerability, and your plans to the very people who wished you harm. They pretended to be close so they could report back. They played both sides like it was a sport. They mirrored your kindness in your face and delivered your business to the enemy behind your back. Imagine this. You're venting to someone you trust, thinking you're safe, thinking you're being heard, and the next day, that exact information is being used against you, not magically, not accidentally, through a pipeline disguised as friendship. Those weren't companions, those were couriers. The universe saw what you couldn't. It saw the friend who smiled too hard while feeling threatened. It saw the supportive one who sided with whoever had power at the moment. It saw the loyal one who repeated your words with a different tone to someone else. So instead of letting the betrayal explode in your face, the universe started disconnecting them quietly, not dramatically, not violently, just distance, silence, weird tension, shifted energy, conversations that died out, plans that stopped happening. You thought it was random. It wasn't. It was protection disguised as separation. And yeah, it hurt. Losing people always stings, even when they weren't good for you. You questioned yourself. You wondered what you did wrong. But now you can see exactly what would have happened if they stayed. If the wicked plot had unfolded with those spies still in your circle, you would have been blindsided so brutally it would have taken years to recover. Sometimes protection feels like abandonment because your heart doesn't know what your intuition already escaped. The disconnection wasn't punishment. It was recalibration. It was cleaning the room before the blessing walked in. It was quality control at a cosmic level. You were never meant to take everyone with you. Some people were only meant to clap from a distance. Some were meant to watch, not walk beside you. Some were meant to observe, not participate. The universe didn't remove them to hurt you. It removed them to save you from the kind of betrayal that doesn't just crack the heart, it shatters the identity. So no, chosen one, you didn't lose people. You lost access to pretenders. And that is one of the greatest protections you will ever receive. Number 9. You were never their target, you were their judgment. Put a pure soul in front of a corrupt heart and watch the truth sprint out of hiding. You didn't expose anyone, they exposed themselves trying to handle someone they weren't built for. The universe wasn't testing you, it was testing them with you. A chosen one isn't attacked, they are used as the spotlight that burns liars alive. Let's tear the mask off this one. You were never the bullseye they were aiming at, you were the exam they didn't study for. They weren't plotting against you because of who you are. They were plotting because your presence triggers whatever is rotting in their spirit. Your kindness, your purity, your honesty. These things don't just reveal character. They expose flaws people spend years hiding. Imagine this. You walk into someone's life carrying nothing but sincerity, and suddenly their insecurities start malfunctioning. Their jealousy wakes up, their ego gets loud, their fake loyalty starts cracking like cheap plastic. You didn't do anything, you just showed up, and their true nature started leaking like a broken pipe. That's the part they'll never admit. You were the test. They were the ones being graded. Your kindness revealed the opportunists. Your loyalty revealed the pretenders. Your boundaries revealed the users. Your presence revealed the snakes. You didn't cause their downfall. They simply failed the exam the universe gave them. When someone encounters a pure soul, they're forced to choose, elevate, or expose themselves, and most of them chose exposure. They showed their greed, their envy, their manipulation, their entitlement, all while thinking nobody noticed. But the universe noticed. How someone treats someone who can't benefit them reveals everything. And you stayed authentic. You stayed grounded. You stayed honest, even when surrounded by people who were performing. That's why you're still rising, while they're still stuck replaying the same tired patterns. They failed a test they didn't even know they were taking. The test of handling someone real. You were never the victim of their wicked plans. You were the measuring stick that proved their character couldn't handle your frequency. Their actions didn't stop your destiny. They exposed their own limitations. And now you walk forward, clean, elevated, untouchable. They walk away revealed, exposed, and haunted by the fact that they couldn't pass the simplest test of all, how to treat someone who meant them no harm. And so, chosen one, the dust has settled now, and every hidden move has already judged itself. You see the whole picture clearly. None of it defeated you. It revealed you. And if you made it this far, chosen one, you already know this wasn't a downfall. It was a rebirth. If this message hit your spirit, pay it back. Hit like, subscribe, drop the number 77 in the comments, and share this with another chosen one who needs to wake up. The mission continues, and your rise is only getting louder from here.